Hello and welcome back to the Folklore Hiking Stick Workshop. Bank holidays just happened and we went to a May Day festival. I'll put a little bit of footage just so you can get the flavour of it. It was fantastic, but anyway, I'm back here. I've got some custom hiking sticks to crack on with, and I've got to get a few generic ones made up because I know there are people coming around to have a look at hiking sticks. So I've got that. And on top of that, I'm in the middle of carving out a snake on a hiking stick, which I'll let you guys have a look at that. And I've just phoned a customer to let him know his cane, which I'll talk about that in a minute, but his cane is ready to be picked up. He lost the copper tip that was on it and he wanted a tip put on. And I've, shall I say, done something a little bit left of centre or right of centre, whichever preference you want to take, and I've made a tip out of brass. So I'll let you guys have a look at that, and I'm going to discuss some slightly boring aspects to hiking stick making, but they are in this day and age extremely important if you're thinking of doing anything like what I'm doing. I've muted the actual volume to the music because I don't want to get hit with copyright infringements. So here's a nice real thick piece of sycamore. I don't usually work sycamore, probably only about half a dozen pieces a year. But it's a nice thick piece, and you can see I've got the rough outline of a snake, and it's going to be a British adder. And they're a member of the viper family. It's the British, it's the only British snake that is incidentally poisonous. But in any case, I've got the rough shape, and I've now got to start, filling it out, putting depth and giving it some detail on that. And I'll let you have a little look at me working that later on. But yeah, I've already got the rough shape there, so the bulk of the work is already done. Right then. I've already got some straight blanks already straightened. I straightened those a couple days ago and they're good to go. And like I said, I'm going to get 4 bits, choose 4 bits. One's going to be for a custom order, a bulldog on it with some wording and larger than I normally do them. And 3 for customers that are coming around. So I've got that to make happen as well. Now those over there are going over to another town just off the moors, and they're going to a tourist information centre who contacted me about could I supply them with some, crafted local craftsmen's hiking sticks. I've agreed, so I'm going to be taking those over on Wednesday, which I think's tomorrow. Right, this is the gentleman's cane I was talking about with that copper tip. This one isn't anything I've made, and it's very, very, very dainty, and it's got a sheep or ram's horn carved on the top with a nice angled cut to it, but I'll bring it in and we'll have a little look. Right then, the actual copper tip that he wanted on it, because he saw me at a craft fair and I was selling my hiking sticks, and he was quite intrigued, and he went off and came back with this cane, because as you know, I specialise in hiking sticks, not this particular genre of sticks, which are canes. And he said, could I help him out? He'd lost the copper tip. This actual cane was made in the Lake District and it was dear to the family. It's got a carved little squirrel on it. Very dainty shaft of hazel. And as you can see there, my copper tip, which I manufactured. Not copper, brass. But yeah, so I've helped him out. I've put that on, and I've gave him a call and said it's ready anyway. But there's the 50 cal. You would have seen in my other videos, I cut it off there and I make the tip from it. And that's a substantial amount of brass there. And that traditionally, which is the top piece, which holds the projectile, that has just been discarded. But waste not, want not, be environmental and green and everything. I've kept it, and I'm glad I have, because it's now come in handy. So how did I make that into that tip? Well, I cleaned all this up, polished it, drilled a hole so I could get a screw to go into the shaft, cleaned it all out, and then furred it up with a piece of sandpaper to give the epoxy a bit more of a bond. And then, as you can see, there is a stepped level. Now that was already on. That piece down there actually had the copper sleeve over it. I couldn't find a piece of copper in my possession that would sleeve it. It was either too small or too big, and I didn't want to take any more wood away, quite simply because it's not the most substantial piece of wood. It's quite a dainty cane. So as you can see, what I've done is just allowed that to be smoothed off that little bit more to accept the casing over it, and just made it shape the top part of the shaft so it would go on over. I've used epoxy to go on as well. Whoop. And you can see I've got a screw in there as well. And I've polished it all up, and it looks very nice. And I think it's more in keeping with this cane than if I used copper. It's got a little squirrel carved in on the top. So this will get this cane back into service for the gentleman. I don't think it's going to see a lot of use. It's more than likely just going to be used just to potter up the road, if not just put in the corner of the house, and it be a treasured item for the family. Like I said, it came from the Lake District. It's got a nice angled cut, so somebody did put a lot of effort into making that joint. You know, so yeah, treasured item. But that's finished, and that's ready to be picked up now. Now, I did say that before I start going down to the woodshed and start manufacturing, sanding and carving, I was going to talk about something extremely important. I know it probably sounds, when you're talking about manufacturing hiking sticks and you use the word important, it may not feel like they sit together very well. But it's the modern world, and what I'm going to talk about is insurance and liability and everything of that vein. Now, even as a crafter, if I'm selling to the general public, you know, hiking sticks, I do have to have public liability insurance, and I've got things blacked out obviously there. You can see that I'm actually business description, manufacturer, retailer of wooden hiking sticks, effective from 17th of the 7th 2023 to 16th of the 7th 24. So obviously I know I have to renew it then. And insured name is obviously my name, Mr. Mounts, TA Folklore, and obviously that's my brand. But yeah, this is my insurance schedule, and it lays out all what I'm liable for and what I pay for. That is something really important to when I say consider, if you're selling to the general public, you need to have insurance in place for your own protection, and obviously the general public and customers demand really in this day and age that you do have some sort of liability insurance, and you know, for their protection, and you're protecting yourself. So yeah, that is something extremely important. Before coming in here, I've had to round up last year's taxes and split them from this year. I'll have to go through the figures to submit to HMRC, which is the UK's tax body. It's something, if you're self-employed, you have to do. And it might, you know, some people might struggle to understand that, you know, you're just selling hiking sticks. but it's an income. It's a very small income I get out of this, but it's still an income nevertheless. And no matter what you think of the government and where the money goes and how it's allocated throughout the UK and the system, I'm still obliged to make sure that I'm paying the right amount, and they can see what I'm doing and what I'm up to. And if you don't, obviously there's the legal consequences with it. But yeah, so taxation and doing things properly that way, that's a must if you're earning any money, which I do from this hiking sticks, selling hiking sticks. And something a lot of people may overlook or forget, you do have to have public liability insurance. If you don't, I would say you're probably being a little bit foolish to yourself and to the customers, because ultimately we're in the modern age, and with the modern age comes all the associated risks and problems. So yeah, if you're selling to the general public, make sure you've got public liability insurance. Right, I'm getting all set up down here in the woodshed. You would have seen this 1,000 times, but hey, it just gives context. I've bought some new sanding items to help with my carving. There's my rough tools there. There's the pieces of wood I'm going to work. Some nice ones there. And there's that snake roughly cut in. Got a lot of work on that. The more I look at it, I realise I've got a lot more work than I first thought. And there are some of the items I used to rough out the carving. Right then, I've actually got a book. I just want to kind of give myself half a chance to get a representation of an adder. If I can find one. I'm not a gifted artist, so I always have to have a picture to work from. There's grass snake there, a smooth snake, and there's the adder. And as you can see, an adder's got a very distinctive zigzag pattern down over the back of its spine as it comes down. So I'm going to have to wood burn something to that effect to give it that look. And it's got like a V shape in the head, and the eyes are on the outside of the head, not on top. So yeah, I've still got a lot of work to do on this actual carving. It won't be the best representation, but I'm going to try and do something something halfway there, so people can understand what it is carved into that stick. I should get better in time as my carvings get better representation of the item I'm doing. But yeah, that's a smooth snake, different altogether. You see a different pattern there. It's more like a spot. This has got more of a zigzag on it. Well, it's like a summer's day down here, and I'm tucked away in the woodshed, a bit out of the way of the sun, which ain't no bad thing, but I'm about to start sanding, and I'm going to take you along with me while I start making this snake look a little bit more like a British adder. Right then, I'm just going to put this sanding roller on, and I'm going to take some of the profile off the actual outer part of where I've routed out the rough outline of the snake, just to kind of give me a bit more of an eyes on profile, how deep and how much depth I can go into it. I don't want to go too deep underneath to try and make it pop out, because obviously I'm worried about the integrity of the stick. I want to keep it strong. It is a substantial piece of wood, but even so, you know, it's a hiking stick and it's going to get used, hopefully. So yeah, but getting back to those hiking sticks that are going off to a shop tomorrow, that's going to be a local town, and it's going to their tourist information department, and they sell products from local crafters in the area. And you know, it's quite nice that I've been invited to display my items there, but not only display my items, they're purchasing the items from me, the hiking sticks, to sell for themselves. Obviously there's a little bit of a you know, discount given to them to buy en masse, or a quantity of them, and I've made an arrangement with them on that score. But on Wednesday I'm dropping them off. But it's nice that I'm going to be getting my products out to a different type of market, and in an environment I traditionally wouldn't have sold in. So yeah, I'm pleased my name's getting out there, and you know, within kind of bit of the wider community, and indeed within the tourist community, people coming in to the area to actually go hiking up on Dartmoor. So for me, it's exciting times this summer. And I seem to be stepping a little bit away from the car boot side of things and sales and even craft fairs, to be honest with you, because my workload is getting to the point I'm struggling to keep up with what I'm doing here now. I get a fantastic amount of correspondence to me asking me to do custom orders, and yeah, that's really taken off, that side of it. But right, let's get on with this. Right then guys, I've completed the snake as far as I want to go with carving it. Now I'm going to add some detail by using wood burning. As you can see, I've done a representation of a snake there. I think it's not too bad actually. And I think you can see what it is. Now I want to do the wood burning to put detail on it and give it that appearance of a British adder. So that's what I'm going to do, set myself up and start. I have learnt a lot of lessons by doing this snake. It's the first one. I'm quite comfortable with wood spirits now, but I want to move on to animals. Now, I've already seen doing it this way, I didn't have the ability to come in do a wrapping underneath it to take some, to give it that 3D effect of it being, you know, I've gone in underneath it. So yeah, there's some lessons learned there, and that would simply, to overcome that, I would need an even thicker stick. This is still a good solid lightweight hiking stick. I've been out there. You can't bend it. It's still a lot of meat there, but I think when you're carving, you do need to go well above what you think you need. You can always process it back down. So yeah, but this will make a good hiking stick. But I'm going to crack on with some wood burning. Well, that's as far as I got, because quite simply, it's end of day and I've been called away to do something else. But yeah, you can see I've got the makings of this snake. I've just got to do, where the line is, I've got to do the underbelly, where the scales run in an opposite direction. I will let you have a look when I've completed it on my next video. Well, thanks for coming along today and seeing a little bit of what I get up to in the workshop. I will actually put some footage on my next video I do relating to the hiking stick workshop here. So you can, if you follow through, get to see what the completed item looks like. But I think you can agree that I should be able to make something from it. So all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail. You've been with me in the Folklore Hiking Stick Workshop. All the best.